Hey, what's up, guys? Houston here. Look, if you're looking to get a personal loan from a credit union, I'm going to tell you about 7 credit unions you should take a look at that will actually offer you a pre-approval. Now, here's one thing I want to tell you about personal loans that a lot of people are not aware of, and they can screw up your credit file. All right. So what it is that like with certain personal loans, they may report as an installment loan. However, there are personal loans, if you take them out, they're usually like from different fintech companies like SoFi. All right. So with these type of personal loans, what they will report, it won't report as an installment loan. What it'll report as like a personal, personal finance account. Okay. And so when it reports as a personal finance account instead of an installment loan, what it does is throws off your FICO 8 scoring. Okay. And so where some people are struggling to get their FICO 8 scoring, if you had that type of loan, then that may be the problem of dragging down your score. Okay. I just wanted to bring that to your attention so that you know on your FICO score that can harm your FICO score. All right. Now, talking about loans, the first one people talk about is Apple Federal Credit Union. Now, here's the thing about it. Apple Federal Credit Union used to be one of the top dogs. Okay, and it kind of still is. They have put in more restrictions, all right? However, they do allow you a pre-approval. Now, here's the thing about it. Because of their being more restricted, sometimes they may ask for a proof of income. They may ask for W-2s. And sometimes they may even ask you to do a Zoom call just to verify that you are that person. So if any of you guys that's a member of Apple Federal Credit Union or consider joining Apple Federal Credit Union, let me know. One of the good things about Apple Federal Credit Union is that they will work with you if you have hard inquiries, all right? So that's the first one. The second one is First Tech Credit Union, all right? Now, here's the thing about it with First Tech Credit Union. They pull from Experian. All right. Going back to Apple, they pull TransUnion. All right. First Tech pulls from Experian. All right. Now, here's the thing about it. You can do a pre-qualification with the loan, but also just keep in mind with these credit unions, if you're going to go out to the pre-approval on the personal loan, you can use that same hard inquiry to get like a personal credit card as well. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Don't waste the inquiry. Like I said, if you end up getting an inquiry. But again, like I said, with First Tech as well as Apple, they do a pre-approval. Now, here's another credit union that stands out. It's Alta Federal Credit Union. Now, you would have to join the Alta, ALTA Foundation in order to become a member. However, they will actually do a pre-approval when it comes to personal loans, all right? Now, the next one you want to talk about is, want to take a look at, is NASA, okay? So NASA is a Vantage 4. Now, many of you all know whenever I say Vantage 4, Vantage 3, run and apply. The reason is because it's a low-hanging fruit. Now, they pull Experian Vantage 4. So what that means to you when you're trying to level up and get a personal loan is that you can add the authorized users. You can add the rental payments. You can add the subscriptions. Okay, you can add the utilities. By the way, people are not aware that you can actually add utilities on your credit file, and it would actually aid your credit file. That's right. It will actually aid your credit file. Now, for some of you all may be wondering, well, how is that? Well, let me tell you, okay? So with My Score IQ, Identity IQ, they have a program where you can add your utility bills. So when you add your utility bills, going back to how long you've been reporting your utility bills through your banking information, it will actually update the account as a new open account, but the open date will actually be a backdated, plus they'll report a couple of years of activity. Okay, so that's one way to actually aid your credit file. Now, many of you all hear me say using authorized users to also aid your credit file as well. And including into that is rental payments through like Rent Reporter or something like that. Again, why it's so important to have an age credit file to where you're having at least 2 years on the credit file, because a lot of people, what they'll do, they'll get their credit repaired and get all the items knocked off, okay? They'll do a credit sweep. And so when you do a credit sweep, they're taking off the good and bad. So then when you start adding on positive trade lines, it looks like you're starting over new. And so by you starting over new, then you don't have an age credit file anymore. So that's the reason why I tell you certain accounts you should be adding on to your credit file so that you can still have that long-term credit history. All right. Now, another one is PenFed. Now, here's the thing about it with PenFed. They use Equifax, okay? Equifax FICO 9. So again, another low-hanging fruit. Here's the thing about it is all you need is a savings account for $5 in order to join them. So they make it easy for you to join. Now, one of the things I found out with a lot of these credit unions, if you're not in their geo area, they may be geo restricted, meaning that you can only join if you're in this area, right? However, these are the ones that actually will let you join that are non-geo restricted. Now, here's another thing about this. Because they're non-geo restricted, I would tell you a key element that will help you get approved. That would be like opening up a small CD or a money market account, okay? That's something that you also you open up your accounts. I always tell you open up a checking, a savings, but opening up the CD as well as a money market account, either of those, that also helps with the relationship. All right. Now, another credit union that do a pre-approval on loans is the State Department Federal Credit Union. People, let me tell you, all right, if there's one loan that you want to go after, this would be the top dog. And this here loan is better than Navy Federal. Let me explain to you why. Not only does this loan go up to $100,000, from $500 up to $100,000, but one of the key things is that you don't have to make a payment for 90 days. So when you get approved for this loan, you don't have to make a payment for 90 days. There are not too many credit unions or banks out there that will allow you to take out a loan and tell you you don't have to make a payment for the next 90 days. Now, on car loans, yes, but for personal loans, it doesn't happen like that, all right? So that's definitely one of the credit unions you really should take a look at. With State Department, I think they're like Experian pull on the credit file, all right? Okay, but Key Point Credit Union, all right? So with Key Point Credit Union, they pull Experian, all right? But again, you're talking about a pre-approval. But please understand, with this pre-approval, all right, once you get approved for, they may go ahead and do the hard pull on the credit. But at least you know what you actually qualify for. Now, again, do not sleep on if they do the hard pull after you accept the loan. Use that hard pull to apply for a credit card as well. All right. So I hope this helps you. If you have any other question about business credit funding, personal credit funding, removing negative items off the credit, click the link in the description. Schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.